you've been involved in some massive fights in your career, the GGG trilogy. Is Crawford the biggest fight because of everything around it, everyone around it, the fact that it might be on Netflix, we're hearing, as a part of a big deal with TKO?
Yeah, I think it's going to be bigger. Even the Mayweather fight is going to be bigger than that.
You think it does more pay-per-view buys than the Mayweather fight?
Yeah, I think so. But, you know, first is first. I'm going to be focused on William School.
Canelo Alvarez boldly declares that his showdown with Terence Crawford will shatter records in boxing history, dismissing even his iconic fight with Floyd Mayweather. Meanwhile, Canelo remains at the center of the boxing world, as Dimitri Bivol's recent post on X indicates a strong focus on securing a lucrative rematch with the Mexican superstar. Bivol, the undisputed light heavyweight champion, signaled his intentions clearly through his social media post, stating, "Waiting for the next move with my best team, Matchroom Boxing Turkey, Al Sheikh Riyadh Season Vadim K-Team." This tweet suggests that Bivol appears to prioritize a trilogy with Artur Beterbiev over facing WBC mandatory David Benavidez. Avoiding Benavidez makes sense from a strategic standpoint, as a potential loss could jeopardize Bivol's chances of landing the highly profitable Canelo fight. Bivol, after his hard-fought win over Beterbiev, has already shown interest in various possibilities, including a Beterbiev trilogy and a rematch with the Mexican superstar.
Doesn't matter, trilogy, Benavidez, Canelo, or as always, I'm just waiting offer, and I'm saying yes.
Eddie Hearn, Bivol's promoter, is fully confident in his fighter's ability to dominate the light heavyweight division. He emphasized that Canelo Alvarez faces a significant challenge if he decides to move up to 175 pounds and take on Bivol for the undisputed championships. According to Hearn, Bivol is ready to face anyone and only continues to improve. He also expressed that if Bivol faces Beterbiev again, the fight will be much easier for him the third time around.
You know, there are so many fights out there. Canelo Alvarez, does he want to really roll the dice to try and become a two-weight undisputed world champion at light heavyweight? I mean, Dimitri's ready for all comers. And by the way, he's going to get better and better. And if he fights Beterbiev again, he'll beat him much easier this time.
Oscar De La Hoya, however, remains unconvinced that Canelo can defeat Bivol if a rematch occurs. Speaking to Fight Hub TV, he firmly dismissed the idea that even a fully prepared Canelo could overcome Bivol's style. He pointed out that styles make fights, and from his perspective, Canelo's style does not match up well against Bivol. Despite his admiration for Canelo as a national hero, De La Hoya does not believe the outcome would be any different in a second bout between the two.
Do we see the same result in your honest opinion, Oscar, or do you think 100% Canelo can beat a Bivol?
Yeah, there's no way he beats Bivol. There's just no way. I mean, styles make fights, and as much as I would want to see a Mexican win inside that ring, a national hero, there's no way he beats Bivol.
Oscar De La Hoya has also criticized Canelo's choice to fight William Skull instead of taking on bigger names like David Benavidez or Terence Crawford. He argued that fans want to see major fights, especially as Canelo enters the final phase of his career. De La Hoya framed it as a pivotal moment, questioning whether Canelo would be remembered for ducking Benavidez or delivering a memorable showdown.
What are you doing? You know, that's all I do all night, is scratch my head. Canelo, what are you doing? Look, people want to see the big fights. They want to see the big fights. They want to see Benavidez. That's it. They want to see, you know, to a certain extent, they want to see Crawford. Canelo, the big mega events. So, especially towards the end of your career. Yeah. I mean, this is the fourth quarter of Canelo's career, so might as well give us the big fights. From now, are we gonna say you ducked Benavidez, or you gave us...
Canelo, however, remains unfazed by De La Hoya's criticism regarding his decision to avoid a fight with Benavidez. Responding to suggestions that his legacy would be tarnished if he does not face Benavidez, Canelo dismissed the notion. He emphasized that his legacy is already established and cannot be diminished by anyone's opinions. His firm stance underscores his belief that his career achievements speak for themselves, regardless of the public or media pressure.
I spoke to Oscar De La Hoya the other day. He said he believes if you don't face David Benavidez, your legacy will be tainted forever. Just your reaction to that?
No, I don't think so. My legacy is my legacy. Nobody can take away my legacy. from me.
Terence Crawford, while acknowledging the public's desire for a Canelo-Benavidez showdown, defended Canelo's decision to avoid the fight. He pointed out that Canelo has consistently faced disrespectful challengers in the past and has defeated them. Crawford suggested that Canelo's hesitation to fight Benavidez is rooted in a personal response rather than a professional one. From his perspective, Canelo perceives Benavidez's behavior as overly disrespectful and is unwilling to reward him with a lucrative payday.
You know, when you look at the history of Canelo, when you look at all the fighters that was disrespectful, calling them out, there was a lot of them, and he fought all of them. You know, from Shane Mosley to, you know, Laura and them. You know, when you Danny Jacobs and them, Sanders. When you look at all the fighters that was disrespectful to Canelo, he was fighting them. But I just think from a Mexican standpoint, when you got two Mexicans, you know, that's one been extra disrespectful towards the other, he just took that personal, the race aspect about it, then the sport.
Yep.
He took the sport out of it, and he just felt as if he wasn't going to give Benavidez the payday that he wanted, just because he felt something different.
Reflecting on his own ambitions, Terence believes a victory over Canelo Alvarez would elevate him to an all-time great status. Speaking to Cigar Talk, he highlighted that such a fight would be a defining moment in his career. He acknowledged Canelo's strength but expressed confidence that the matchup would ultimately be decided by skill. For Crawford, defeating a fighter of Canelo's caliber would solidify his legacy and place him among the sport's elite.
He's strong, I'm strong.
Right.
You know, it'd be, to me, skill for skill.
Right.
You know, because Canelo not the biggest 168 fighter. So I just started looking into it, and I'm like, man, you know what? That would be a great fight to have a defining legacy fight with an all-time great that's been solidified and accomplished in the sport of boxing.
Canelo, on the other hand, explained why he is now open to facing Crawford after previously showing little interest. According to him, the growing demand from fans played a major role in changing his stance. He admitted that public interest has made the fight a real possibility, and he is willing to consider it after his upcoming bout in May.
You know, I can see people want to see that fight too, so I think it's starting making sense. And it's a possibility there. Yeah. So we'll see after May.
Canelo views this fight as one of the biggest moments of his career. Despite having faced major opponents like Gennady Golovkin, Canelo believes a bout with Crawford could surpass even his fight with Floyd Mayweather in terms of significance. Canelo expressed confidence that this matchup could generate more pay-per-view buys than any other fight in his career. However, despite the allure of a massive showdown with Crawford, Canelo remains focused on his upcoming battle against William Skull, understanding that a victory is essential to keep these future possibilities alive.
You've been involved in some massive fights in your career, the GGG trilogy. Is Crawford the biggest fight because of everything around it, everyone around it, the fact that it might be on Netflix we're hearing as a part of a big deal with TKO?
Yeah, I think it's going to be bigger. Even the Mayweather fight is going to be bigger than that.
You think it does more pay-per-view buys than the Mayweather fight?
Yeah, I think so. But, you know, first is first. I'm going to be focused on William Skull.
Despite his ongoing rivalry with Alvarez, Oscar De La Hoya believes that Crawford would struggle against Canelo due to the size difference. While he acknowledges Crawford's skills, he feels the physical gap is too significant to ignore. However, he admits that Crawford might surprise everyone and prove the world wrong. For now, based on past fights, he does not see Crawford beating Canelo, though he considers it an exciting matchup.
You know Terence Crawford. Does he beat Saul Canelo Alvarez?
I'm going by history and what history has taught me, and that is a good little man has never been a good big man. So I have to say that Crawford will not beat Canelo. Who knows? I might be wrong. Crawford might prove everyone wrong, the whole world wrong, but on paper, it's never happened. So,
but it's a good fight.
Eddie Hearn also weighed in on the potential clash, expressing similar concerns about the size difference. According to him, while both fighters are generational talents with impressive skills, the weight class may be too much for Crawford to handle. He pointed out that even in his recent fights, Crawford did not seem naturally comfortable at higher weights. Still, he acknowledged Crawford's intelligence and adaptability in the ring, which could pose challenges for Canelo.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a fantastic fight. You know, two generational greats, two pound-for-pound greats. I do think the weight will be too much for Terence. I think even in the Madrimov fight, you saw that physically, I think he's, you know, even at 154, he's not a big 154. He's definitely not a big 160, and he's definitely not even a small 168. So, but he has got unbelievable skill, and he's got a huge boxing IQ, but so has Canelo Alvarez, so I do give him the edge in that fight.
Rolly Romero did not hold back when discussing Crawford's chances against Canelo. He highlighted Crawford's performance against Israel Madrimov, noting how often Crawford got hit during that bout. According to him, if Canelo lands similar punches, the impact would be far greater due to his additional weight.
He got hit a lot. And imagine if Canelo hit him with any of those shots with, I don't know, all the extra weight Canelo has. You can't even compare. Remember last time a 154-pounder moved up to try to fight Canelo?
Jamel.
And he literally just did. And you're gonna tell me Jamel's smaller than Crawford?
I think Crawford's got more skill than Jamel, though, right? Or no?
I'm gonna tell you like this, man. I would not make that fight. I would not make that fight.
Continuing his critique, Romero compared Crawford's situation to Jermell Charlo's unsuccessful attempt to move up in weight against Canelo. In his opinion, Crawford is even smaller than Charlo, making the challenge more difficult. He questioned whether Crawford could replicate what Floyd Mayweather did to Canelo years ago, pointing out the massive weight difference between the two. According to him, Crawford is primarily motivated by financial gain and is willing to take the risk to cash out.
But this is the thing.
But like
though.
I said, are you telling me Crawford's gonna be able to take off the shit that Floyd did off Canelo?
No, I don't think he's gonna do. I think it's a different fight. I don't think
it's a completely different fight.
But Canelo is
can't even compare.
But Canelo's older. Canelo's not
Don't
as
matter.
mobile.
But if you're fighting a 147-pounder and you're a 168-pounder.
But Bud's not a 147-pounder. He's not like I think he's
okay. 154-pounder. Okay, let's go with the 154. That's still 14 pounds.
Okay, but you've never sparred someone that weighed 15 more pounds than you?
It's not sparring. It's a fight with 10-ounce gloves. Also, Bud was fighting with 8-ounce gloves his whole fucking career. That's a big difference too.
Addressing those who accuse him of chasing money, Bud Crawford emphasized that his legacy is his primary focus. According to him, if he defeats Canelo, critics will have little left to say. He dismissed claims that he is only interested in financial rewards, pointing out that he has been earning millions for years. For Crawford, this fight represents a chance to cement his place in boxing history by taking on one of the sport's biggest names.
If Canelo become undisputed again, and I beat Canelo, what could they say? They'll say something, but what
they're gonna find something, you know that.
But what can they really say?
Right.
You know? So that's the legacy fight right there for me. I'm not looking at, a lot of people say, oh, well, he's money hungry, he's looking at money and he's trying to cash out and this and that. I've been getting money for years. I've been getting millions for years.
Crawford also addressed the media's doubts about his ability to handle a bigger opponent. Drawing parallels to his victory over Errol Spence, he pointed out that similar doubts were raised before that fight. According to him, the narrative of a smaller fighter being unable to beat a bigger one is familiar. He believes the same people who doubted him before will be proven wrong again if he faces and defeats Canelo.
The media, when you hear the experts talk, you always hear all of them say, you never seen a smaller great fighter beat a big great fighter. The talks of Crawford going up to fight Canelo is intriguing. Yeah. You know, he's the bigger, he's the stronger, he's the most powerful fighter. These are the things that they said about Spence. you know, so.
Still, Crawford acknowledges the uncertainty surrounding the matchup. According to him, no one has seen him perform at this higher weight class, making it difficult to predict how he will respond to Canelo's power. While he remains confident in his boxing skills and movement, he understands the concerns about whether he can take punches from a naturally bigger opponent. In his view, this element of the unknown adds intrigue to the potential fight and fuels public interest in seeing the outcome.
So we know what to expect when we see Canelo come into the ring and when Canelo fights, but we don't know what to expect when we see Crawford, because we never seen Crawford at this weight before. Take a punch by a bigger guy like Canelo that's punching. We never seen it. So the thing is, we know Crawford can box. We know Crawford can move, but can Crawford take a punch?
Mikey Garcia offered advice to Crawford on how to approach the challenge against Canelo. According to Garcia, Crawford should focus on using his boxing skills rather than trying to match Canelo's strength. He suggested that Crawford should stay elusive, use his speed, and switch stances to keep Canelo off balance. In Garcia's opinion, Crawford's best strategy is to outbox Canelo rather than engage in a physical battle. He believes that while Canelo holds the size advantage, Crawford's versatility and ring intelligence give him a chance to succeed.
Don't try to measure yourself in strength and size when you're fighting Canelo. I'd actually like to see him lighter. Don't try to be as strong as Canelo. Box, box, box. Be elusive, be fast, and use your experience like that. Turn southpaw and back to right and confuse Canelo. That's what you got going for you. Now Canelo, the other way around. Use the size, fighting combinations. Pressure. Use the advantage of being heavier. All night. Use your power again, that's kind of what Canelo has to do.
Dimitri Bivol, who previously defeated Canelo, also shared his perspective on the potential matchup. According to him, Crawford should rely on his natural abilities, particularly his movement and stance switching. He believes that maintaining distance and avoiding prolonged exchanges will be crucial for Crawford. In his view, the fight could go either way, as both fighters possess unique strengths and strategies.
Need to do his job, what he's doing well. He's changing his stance, he's moving a lot, he's keeping distance. Like this he could win, of course, not with changing punches with him. I think it's an interesting fight against Crawford, of course. The best fighters in their weight classes, different styles. Good fight.
On the other hand, despite ongoing talks about a possible showdown with Terence Crawford in September, Canelo remains committed to his current challenge. According to him, staying active is essential, and right now, all his attention is on William Skull. He believes discussions about future fights can wait until the time is right.
A potential showdown with Terence Crawford awaits in September. He decided not to have a fight until then, but you said you were going to fight in May. Why take the risk?
No, I like to be active. And I don't take, we don't have a fight till September. We have this fight, and then we will see the September fight. But I'm focused 100% on William Skull.
On the other hand, amid all this buzz surrounding Canelo versus Crawford, William Skull has expressed frustration over being overlooked. Speaking to Ring Magazine, he found it disrespectful that fans and the media are already discussing Canelo's potential bout with Crawford. When asked if he would fight Crawford next, he made it clear, saying, "First of all, we're focused on the May 3rd fight. We're taking all the belts home. After the fight, we'll see what comes next." In media appearances, Skull has also shown confidence in his ability to pull off an upset against Canelo. He believes in his skills and is ready to surprise everyone on fight night.
He salido adelante bajo las dificultades de las personas que me subestiman.
Now, if you get the win, there's other big fights out there at 68 for you. Would you entertain a Terence Crawford fight, or would you want to focus on more of the guys at 168 pounds at super middleweight?
For him, the key is to rely on his preparation and deliver a performance that will prove his capabilities. Despite the crowd's support for Canelo, Skull remains calm and focused on executing his game plan on May 3rd.
Esperen el 3 de mayo que van a disfrutar de un gran boxeo.
I feel really good right now, actually. I rely on my fundamentals, and I have prepared really well in a very dignified way for this fight. And all I want is to be ready for May 3rd and give the fans a great fight, which is what they deserve.
Canelo, however, is equally confident and sees this fight as another important milestone in his career. With the support of his Mexican fans, he feels motivated to make history once again.
I feel really good right now, actually. I rely on my fundamentals, and I have prepared really well in a very dignified way for this fight. And all I want is to be ready for May 3rd and give the fans a great fight, which is what they deserve.
Well, Canelo, everyone knows.
Fighting in Saudi Arabia for the first time adds another layer of excitement for him. According to Canelo, he never underestimates his opponents and always gives his best in training. He is determined to put on a great show and deliver a memorable performance.
I just feel grateful about have you here, guys. Always support me, and let's make history. Let's make history. Thank you, everybody. That motivates myself. Sparing, fighting in another country. I feel great. I feel great about it. Motivate, and you know, this fight is very important to me. I never take nothing easy. I always train in my 100% because I know he have a lot of skills, but you know, he's no other Canelo out there.
Acknowledging Skull's Cuban boxing style, Canelo admits that it can be challenging due to its defensive nature. He recognizes the complexity of facing a fighter with such a style, but remains focused on his strategy.
You know, it's gonna be difficult because his style, you know, the Cuban style is a little bit complicated, but like always, I'm gonna try my best, and I'm gonna be in the ring and like boxing is, you know, hurt your opponent as much as you can, and I'm gonna do it that May 3rd.
The background of this fight adds further intrigue. Initially, Canelo was reportedly set to face Jake Paul. However, he changed course and signed a 4-fight deal with Saudi boxing chief Turki Al-Sheikh. This decision led to the upcoming clash with William Skull for the undisputed super middleweight title, while a potential mega fight with Crawford remains on the horizon for September. Explaining his decision, Canelo shared that partnering with Turki Al-Sheikh felt like the right move for his career. For him, the future holds great potential, and this partnership aligns with his long-term goals.
I think in being with Turki Al-Sheikh, I did the correct thing. That's what I feel. That's the way I feel. I think is there so much potential in the future, so that's why we choose to be working with him.
When asked about choosing Skull over Jake Paul, he emphasized that his focus is on making history. In his view, a fight with Jake Paul is more of an event rather than a true boxing contest, and it can wait until he retires.
Because it's better for me. At this point in my career, I just wanna continue making history. You know, that fight I don't even call it like a fight. It's like an event more like a fight, yeah? Like a fight. That event can wait till I retire.
Canelo's stance on fighting Jake Paul remains consistent with his earlier statements. Speaking on the Full Send podcast in 2023, he suggested that a crossover fight with Paul is not off the table, but would only happen after he finishes competing at the highest level. In his view, such a fight could attract new audiences to boxing, but is not a priority while he continues to chase legacy-defining achievements.
Other people who never watch boxing, or they don't know anything about boxing, they want to watch Jake Paul because he's coming from he bring fans from other world, right? Yeah. That's good because everybody enjoy it.
Would you ever entertain that idea when you're done?
Maybe.
Canelo Alvarez is no stranger to big challenges, but his approach to upcoming fights is raising eyebrows. While his bout with William Skull may not seem like a massive threat, it keeps him active as he eyes bigger names. The real tension lies in his unfinished business with Dimitri Bivol, a rematch fans have been waiting for ever since Bivol handed Canelo a rare defeat. But the fight generating the most buzz is a potential showdown with Terence Crawford. Crawford, fresh off his dominance at welterweight, is eyeing a jump to challenge the Mexican superstar, and Canelo isn't holding back. He's boldly claimed that his September fight will surpass every bout he's ever had, even his historic clash with Floyd Mayweather. If you're a true Canelo fan who follows every fight, do you agree with his bold statement? Drop your thoughts in the comments.